Hello and welcome back to Everybody Loves Raiken, our 5th edition live play that meets every Tuesday night. It is our third session of the year 2023. There was a little technical difficulty, but we are here, and we are ready to begin. So, last time, the party got to have some private time away from Tatsuya to discuss what they wanted to do about the dragons. And once night fell, they put up the magnificent mansion inside with the entrance on the side of this weapons crate on the beach, and go and have a nice sleep, and get some, bathing done, clean off the grime of a long and horrifying day, and, just sort of humanize for a little bit, which was very nice. I very much enjoyed that. And so, popping out the next morning, it seems to me the plan. They have already talked to Tatsuya and told him that it should take them no more than a week, which would give Tatsuya time to train his army further, to retrieve the white scale from Tresnor. And so the party is planning to transport themselves back to Sudaran to speak with Tresnor once again. So upon popping out of the crate, they definitely bothered one of the elven soldiers who was fishing in the early morning over here, and could not figure out how they managed to all fit inside this weapon box, especially with the weapons still in it. They informed Tatsuya and Thandros their plan, they said their goodbyes, and Tatsuya and Thandros have backed off to give them the space to do whatever magic it is that they're going to do. And so, two things that I was hinted at by players last time, so I'll say them now, just in case people forget. Jebble has asked if there are trees around, and I have told him that there are, and that there were definitely trees in the swamp. And I believe my breathy dragonborn, Raiken, over there, wanted to perform a spell of his own, perhaps.
Not right at this moment.
Okay. Get my hopes up.
I think Larametis was going to cast Telepathic Bond, so he's going to start doing that.
Correct.
Ritually.
Alright, so, you're casting for 10 minutes. Jebble, you had asked about trees. Is there something you wish to say to the party about that?
Wait, where are we actually going? Have we decided where we're...
Yes. As far as I am aware, the party last session determined that the plan is to go to Sudaran and to either convince Tresnor to help the party, or trick him, and then to, by however this works out, trick Tatsuya into believing that you have the white scale and intend to use it to raise Widimir so that you can kill all the dragons and fight Tiamat. Even though the plan is, in fact, to talk to Karasoth and try to negotiate a deal by which some of the dragons get to roam free, and others will be killed and sealed, so as to both prevent further wanton destruction by people like Bala and Shisharan, and also to prevent the world from potentially getting destroyed if you fail to defeat Tiamat by not fighting Tiamat. Does any of that answer your question?
That's it. Okay, no, that's fine. I will just say, well, when Laramentis... Has Laramentis said that he's told us that this is what he's doing, casting this spell?
Yeah, he would announce that
Yes.
and then begin ritually casting. Sorry, Sam.
Okay, so I'll say just when Laramentis has finished casting this spell, there's something I'm going to share with the group, which I may have shared before, I can't remember.
Okay. In that case, then 10 minutes are going to elapse, and you're all going to be connected via the telepathic bond. Who among the familiars is on the on the bond? Are any of them? Got 3.
3.
You got Skith, you got Lorelei, you got Ash.
Ash is an object.
Have we not had him on the Bond in the past?
I don't
We have.
think.
I think we have.
We? I don't remember.
Yeah, there were times where there were 7 of us and we didn't have any extras, so we put Ash on it.
Okay, then it would be Ash.
Although
Without question.
I am remembering. This is sparking a memory. I feel like there was something about he's not. I know that he is not normally capable of telepathing with you because the whole idea behind his creation is that he shares knowledge, so he always does so verbally. I don't know that I ever ruled that precludes him from being on the Bond. It just means that he doesn't have a native telepathy with you.
Hmm.
I'm fine with him being on the Bond.
Okay, then yeah, he's on the Bond.
Okay. There can be, 8 creatures, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he'll just take up a creature slot. So you're at 8.
Oops. Let me see. Do I have... We just took a long rest, right?
Yep.
Yes.
If you haven't marked your sheet, please mark your sheet. Long rest. So, Mr. Druid?
I'm waiting for my character sheet to load.
Oh.
It's a bit slow.
Oh. And I'll just double check and make sure that I haven't left anybody off.
That is very slow.
Oh, I had. Glad I checked. It is a cursed day today, gentlemen and lady.
Yeah, I need to prepare a spell because I didn't take a long rest since I leveled up.
Yep, you can prepare them. And have them immediately available now. There aren't any rules about how it happens except that it's at the end of a long rest. In previous editions, some people did it at night while others did it in the morning. I don't care. You have whatever spells you want. Prepare them now.
So I will, over the bond, just say, if we want to get to Sudarn, was it?
Yes.
I can get us there, like now, and we'd be pretty close to the plant, to the camp, village. It's a druid spell, just teleport from one plant to another. Well, a large enough plant. And I point to like a nearby tree that is large enough, and I say, like, basically, just connect 2 of these together. Magically.
That's useful.
I haven't done it before, so let's hope that nothing goes horribly, horribly wrong.
What can go horribly, horribly wrong?
Who knows?
I would hope that you do.
That would be nice.
He did say he's never done it before, so how could he know what could go wrong?
Most people capable of casting magic have a decent understanding of the magic that they're casting. There's like a hopeful tone in Laramendes' voice.
As he is a spellcaster.
Jebble just sort of shrugs like, eh. Well, you might learn something today. Something that you'd rather not know, but...
How precise is this method of teleportation?
In terms of like where it'll end up,
Yes.
it should end up precisely where I want it to end up.
Larmendus nods. Then what's the danger in it?
Do I roll something
Trying a
to see
different
if there-
approach?
if there's any danger?
I mean, it's a spell that you have prepared, so you know how it works. If the spell description says that something can go wrong, you know what that thing is. If the spell description does not say that something can go wrong, then you know that there's no danger.
Okay. Well, really, nothing should go wrong.
Larmendus seems a
I'm
bit
like
confident.
99.9% certain nothing will go wrong.
Larmendus seems more concerned when he says that.
Outside of some cosmic entity screwing with us deliberately, I'm certain nothing will go wrong.
All right.
There's a lot of cosmic entities.
What of
Yeah,
your resources does it cost to do this spell?
Okay, let's see. Is there a spell slot?
Of what level?
6.
Really?
Roots are gotta be good at stuff every now and then. Transport.
6th level wizards don't even teleport.
Yes, I was right. I knew I remembered the name of the spell.
Yeah, but 5th level gets you teleportation circle. They don't get that.
True. It has the reagent cost though, and the needing to go to a circle.
Yeah, this has no materials. Amazing.
Well, it has like a tree. 2 trees.
Yeah, and you only
Not
have
going
to.
to Isengard.
You only have to have seen them. You could have touched them, but that's not necessary. You just be like, "There's a tree," and then you go somewhere else and like, "That's a tree." Boop. No, I'm at the first tree.
Just pull out a spyglass, like, and that one.
Basically, there's nothing here that says you couldn't do that. You couldn't be like outside a city, but high enough to see like a tree growing above the wall or something, and be standing next to a tree and be like, "Okay, I'm going there." Fuck these walls.
You turn into a bird, fly straight up, so you can see a bunch of trees.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
wild.
but you have to have a tree that you start from.
Well, yeah, then you fly back down and go to that tree.
Yeah.
That's a very neat spell. That is considerably less resource intensive than our other methods of teleportation, and much more precise.
Yeah,
That is
because
useful.
last time it ended up dropped into the ocean, and we almost got eaten by that thing. That
But
did
we
eat
were
a lot
within
of
sight
people.
of the land.
Okay.
And we almost ended up inside of that beastie.
Beastie.
Beastie Boy.
Imagine
Oh,
if the Leviathan had swallowed a tree. And then you teleport to that tree.
The Leviathan who swallowed a tree.
So you teleport to a tree that you know, you've seen it, you touched it, all the stuff, and then that tree had just been cut down and transported somewhere completely separate.
It pop out of like a chair.
Well, it used to be my tree. Guess it still counts.
So, I suppose the most immediate question with this method of traveling via tree, how are we approaching Tresnor?
This is all on telepathic bond.
Yes.
Just restating it now.
Are we
What?
being extremely
Uh-huh.
open? How are we approaching Tresnor?
I mean, I guess we want to get him to help us, right?
That would be ideal.
We're gonna
Although
plan with the fake scale, right?
his assistance would be suspicious. To Tatsuya.
It would be. But if he doesn't show up until the fight, we may be able to convince him that he's there to try to stop the dragons. Of course, I don't know. It's something we'll have to decide. It would be pretty obvious that we didn't go with the plan that we said we were going to go with if we show up with Tatsuya. I mean, if we show up with Tresnor.
So I suppose in that case, the best case scenario for us is him not showing up.
Now the question is, with him showing up, what would Tatsuya do in that situation? If he realized that his plan wasn't going to happen, would he try to pull the army away? Would he just abandon it, or would he continue to fight anyway?
Well, that'd be a question for Raiken. He knows his brother the most, more than we do.
I mean, you've all heard him speak about this. I don't see him turning away.
What if he
He's
cannot?
dead set on this.
If he realizes he cannot accomplish his goal, is the question, Raiken.
I mean, if he isn't able to accomplish his goal now, I still don't see him fully turning away from it. It'll only be a matter of time before he tries again.
So you think that he would flee with as much of the army as he could to attempt to marshal more forces? As soon as it became apparent that he would lose?
It's possible. I think he would have to be in quite desperate measures to do something like that, however.
Well, hopefully, if he were to try something like that, Thandros would be able to rally them in to continue to fight. That would be a risk, and the question is Tresnor's aid in the fight worth the risk?
Is it likely that Tatsuya would continue the fight to seal the dragons so that he could go with your plan later, if he realized he wasn't able to go with his plan now?
That is tough to say. Considering that he worked to unseal the dragons now, and this time, now that everyone is aware of the sealing of the dragons, I'm not sure if he will go with that or not, because I'm sure he would be afraid that there wouldn't be the chance to unseal them again, that nobody would allow that.
So he would simply let them resurrect as soon as possible.
That is certainly a possibility, to still have the chance at taking them all down.
And I assume that the reason you asked for the week is so that you could conceal your necessary time in retrieving the other scales.
Yes, the idea was to give us more time to do everything else we need to do before. We still got to get the other scales, and we want to talk to leaders of nations about our plan.
Which means he would not be able to get those scales. You would have control of them, I mean.
Either way, our plan involves resealing the dragons. Once we attempt to do that, he's going to know we aren't going with his plan. Either way. I think if we can get Tresnor to help, it's worth the risk.
Having a powerful ally that has already defeated him once before might convince him to join your fight. So
we'll need somebody to be doing the sealing rituals while we're fighting the other dragons. You know, once one goes down, people got to start trying to seal it. I'm sure Tresnor's men could fill that role.
It's a lot of things to juggle. Will you be contacting the Empire of the Four Queens, then, to see if you can commandeer their army?
Yes, that is part of the plan. Is that they come and start following Tatsuya's orders, and that would make our plan impossible.
But Tatsuya's plan will be impossible if you've removed Karasoth or any of the dragons from the equation.
But without his army, we will be able to take out the other dragons. And if we seal one, then we have him hounding us to try to unseal it the entire time we're trying to steal the others.
Scholar, you had a question. I am an observer.
My question that I'm going to say was, do we know anyone in a position of power in the Empire of the Four Queens? But then I realized if we can first negotiate with Karasoth such that he is able to to very visibly not be where the army needs him to be, and we have assurances from him and he has assurances from us, then our timeline around everything can shift. Everything doesn't need to come to a head now. We can deal with the dragons in a bit more time with the assistance of Karasoth and possibly the assistance of some of his brood.
That makes a lot of assumptions, Scholar. My hundreds of years of experience leads me to warn you that I would not assume, were I you, that removing Karasoth from this action now and abating the fight entirely would not also result in the remaining dragons going on a tirade. Terror. Destructive path.
And Kasra not being there wouldn't stop the other dragons from, continuing to grow their broods.
Those
That's
are both
still a
fair
timeline
points.
we're attached to, so.
Apologies, Scholar. I'm not usually included so well in these discussions. I'm exercising my boundaries.
So if we are going to seek Tresnor's aid in this fight, does it make more sense to go elsewhere first so that we can have more assurances of a reasonable plan for him?
That's not a bad idea. And we have the 7 days. We don't need to do Tresnor immediately. We could do him after we've done something else. We do have a list of things that we need to do, and a very tight timeline to do them.
It also gives us, so we tell them what our plan is already, and that we have evidence of what we're doing.
Now, I definitely think Tresnor will be all for helping us seal the dragons. The question is what his thoughts will be on not sealing Kasseroth.
I would expect that we should plan for him to attempt to double-cross us. And seal Karasoth?
Karasoth.
No,
Never mind,
Tresnor.
right.
If we had Tresnor's aid, I think it would be safe to assume that he would do everything in his power to attempt to also seal Karasoth.
Yeah,
Breaking
so.
any agreements that we could have had. Which would mean that we would likely need to have already made proper assurances to Karasoth, likely involving him having control of his scale.
Do we only have the one scale right now? Blue one?
Right. We only have the blue one. We have we know who is in possession of the black scale, and we could speak with Dusty and Kazanari.
Do we know where the red scale is? Because it's pretty important to our plan.
I don't think we
find it.
Yeah, we could find it. We probably should find it. The scales have generally been found where the dragons were raised, and so my guess is that it's in Ebengard.
Is it not then already likely that he has this scale? They're in Ebengard. They just left the scale there for the dragon. Why would he not pick up the scale?
They might have done a job of hiding it, but we can certainly try and figure out where it is.
At any rate, our plan's not going to work if Karasoth already has a scale. That's kind of most of our leverage.
I mean, I think that the scale is not the only leverage we have. the leverage is that we have an army coming to kill them, and he will die. Making sure that he has the scale would be a necessary act of good faith. But we could try and figure something else out. Assuming he's in
Something we
possession
can
of it.
deal with later. Hopefully he's not in possession of it. None of the others seem to pick up their scales, even though they're same situation, so hopefully he didn't either.
Perhaps there's some reason that they can't. All the scales were left at the sites they were raised.
Yukikaze, are you aware of any reason why the children could not be in a possession of their scales?
Voice of this guy, I forgot if it was.
Roll
If I need to roll.
Roll me a history check.
Dice are feeling lucky. Alright.
Did you say it?
This dice is on strike.
Try a different die.
No, it's a 15 total.
I'm going to roll the die. Okay. So, between those two, you can remember thinking very hard, wanting desperately to have something, a useful answer to this question. You find that you remember as a younger dragonborn, perhaps even back into your childhood, that your clan, your father, would tell you these stories of the past, of the history of your tribe, the history of the hero Jagrazir, to, instill this pride in your people, in your nation, in your, the journey that they have survived. And what you can recall as you rack your brain about this, looking for any piece in your past experiences that might be useful, is that you can remember one thing. While the stories would be, full of action and drama, talking about the great warrior challenging the black dragon Shisharin in the forests of Toralos, it was said that when he trapped the great worm in this scale, in this gem, as it was always described in the old stories, inaccurately, obviously, that because of the way this gem had come to be, that it was comprised of this dragon in part, and its opposite in other part, that it was untouchable by this dragon. Its power strong enough to hold the soul, and strong enough to ward off this dragon's own flesh. And what this means, as you parse through your memories and you hear your father's voice telling you these stories, these little details that just seemed like some extra mystique, some greater powerful magic to the story, that this may have in fact been truth in the guise of the dramatic, that in fact, because the scale belongs to both Shisharan and her counterpart, Metallic Dragon, and the power that it is made to wield, that she isn't able to touch it herself.
So, I'll address everyone in the party. So, what I can remember from some stories from my childhood is that because the scale is made from Cheshire, or I'll use Cheshire as example, and their counterpart, it's she's not able to wield it or take hold of it.
Can't touch their own scales.
It is possible, then, that he would have sent minions to get the thing as far from him as possible, to reduce the chances of, say, someone coming and killing him and finding it in his protection, and then using it.
Could be. But at least it makes it likely that, well, almost guaranteed that he himself does not possess it. But it also means that likely doesn't want to possess it, at least not directly.
He probably wants to know where it is, or at least how it's hidden.
Like I said, not directly.
So is our first step to find that scale?
Certainly seems like an important.
Well, we have my pendant to locate the scales.
Regardless, we should not be here before we go looking.
Yeah, we don't want to tip Tatsuya off that we might not be doing what we said we're doing.
Not to mention, don't want to know that what the pendant does, if at all possible.
Yeah.
If we are going to begin speaking with heads of state, or at least as high up in the governments as we can, and we need a safe place to point our search, should we go to Bromdor?
Be worthwhile. While we're there, we could perhaps inquire with Nalia about forging some type of fake scale to give Tatsuya.
And we could speak with Claire to see if we can get any advice from her about how Bromdor would feel about the situation and the kinds of concessions that we should expect to make. Seems like the most likely to be most friendly to us government to start speaking with. And if it's completely rejected outright, then that will give us valuable insight.
Scholar, I have an impertinent question.
Go ahead.
Understanding that there are inherent risks, but that they probably don't outweigh the benefit, why would you not simply wish into existence a plausible forgery of the scale?
That is a reasonable wish. I had been considering using Wish to make the agreement between everyone and Karasoth binding. And so running the risk of losing Wish seems dangerous.
Well, there are two of us. It might be worthwhile to at least check our other option first and resort to that if need be.
I think it's reasonable. Let's go to Frondor first.
Only just realizing it wasn't on the map. You're going to go to Bromdor first, eh? Are you going to use transport via plants to get there?
I think that is the safest method.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the sword that I used to cast an event was forged in Nalia's basement, right?
If you're talking about the Rethian aspirant, I think that it was forged in Nalia's house, yes.
Would I use it as a focus for teleport?
Yes.
So I will propose that as an option as well. As
That is a higher level spell.
true, but if we want to go to someplace else in the same day, I can't get us to a swamp or any other place where I've seen a tree. I can specifically get us there with no chance of failure. I'm not particularly
Is
picky.
reasonable.
I just want the options on the table.
That was Bromdor?
Yes.
That was... Wait, was Bromdor the country or the city?
Bromdor is the country.
Right.
The city is Volinar.
Volinar. There are trees in Volinar, I'm assuming.
Yep.
You saw many of them.
Yes. Like, I can get us to Volinar too.
Cyrus had been proposing this method as a way to save your spell slots for other travel that we might need to make today.
And that's on the assumption that you can only use that plant, travel by plant, once a day.
Hmm?
And the idea would be that Cyrus could teleport us there, and then if we finish what we're doing there and want to go somewhere else today, then you could still get us there today.
Are there any restrictions on the spell other than the spell slots?
Nope.
No, so technically,
So the difference, so I guess it
count
doesn't
on his
matter. You can
fingers
cast them if you
4
want.
times a day, technically.
But
Though,
there's really no
3 of
issue.
those would be slightly wasteful.
Well, I don't care which way we get there. It doesn't matter. Let's just get there.
Me too.
I am curious what this plant teleportation is like.
Just make sure you're not writing down in your book the portal closes before you get through it.
Hmm?
It says don't
He's
get
telling you not to get
distracted.
distracted while we're trying to use it.
I will say the window for travel is kind of short, so once we start, we just go. No hesitation.
Would suck to get left
That's
behind.
just like teleportation circle, so.
You know, no one's ever gotten left behind in that, so I think we're good. If you're ready, then.
Yeah. Well, is there a limit on how many people go through?
No.
Then let's go with that, because I forgot to count familiars. I can't get everybody in one trip.
I mean, familiars can be
Yeah,
put into
the-
pocket dimensions. They don't really count.
I do not want to go into a pocket dimension, Scholar.
You're not a familiar.
I am glad I am not a familiar, Scholar.
Wait, Blair called you an object. This just means you can go in his pocket, right?
I can go where I please and fit.
Does Ash count as a person for that?
I don't think so. Never had to come in before.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either.
He's an attuned item, just like your armor.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sentient.
So,
Smarter than the average armor.
Jebble, do you have a preference?
Your mother called me a rock scholar.
Ugh.
A pet rock.
Preference.
Or method of trade?
I'd forgotten about that.
Or calls your first pet rock either.
I don't know what you're talking about. So, trees. We have no time to waste.
Trees.
They do tend to grow near rocks, don't they, Scholar?
Occasionally. Luckily, we don't need to teleport to a rock. We can use a tree.
You can feel his singular eye trained upon you.
Although you're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Just turn back.
It looks at Cyrus.
Stare at you for a second. Ash and Lurman just like turn at Cyrus at the exact same speed and like everything. It's like impressive.
Leah tries to hide a laugh.
So, Jebble,
Stealth
travel
check.
of choice.
Trees.
Okay, trees it is. I'm following the gnome.
Alright, I totally put a tree
Correction,
in.
Tria tried and failed to hide a laugh.
Okay, she laughs.
I got a 2 on
This-
dice, so I just
This
not doing the
fisherman
check.
who saw us pop out of this thing, have a conversation with Tatsuya and Thandros, spend 10 minutes with the elf saying weird shit, and then have just been standing here for, I'm not that, 10 minutes maybe. Then just the half-elf chuckles. This fisherman is not comfortable.
Then the gnome walks away and touches the tree, and we all disappear.
I mean, you guys are realistic to come over here, right? For sure, anyways.
Hmm?
I'm following him.
Oh, where are we going? Where's
Toward
there?
the trees, I hope. I don't
The
think I
idea
have to-
that-
no, I still have to grab Raiken.
We actually have to run all the way to one of those trees over there.
Yup. He's picking exactly the right tree.
Oh, we're doing palm trees? Okay.
Nope.
It's got to be a tree he's friends with.
Nope.
I will, once I get here, I am going to put Skith into a pocket dimension.
Okay, Skith goes into a pocket dimension. Kill Skith.
Skip dies.
Ha!
There's just a feather that floats down, and right before it hits the ground, it just turns into ash and then disperses in the wind.
Yeah, just refuses to move.
Laura can go in the pocket dimension as well.
Kill Lorelei.
There's just a single
it's
arrow which falls to the ground.
It's a black feather for some reason. Weird, fairy. Blech. Ha! Lorelei dies.
No, when you put a familiar in the pocket dimension, it's like that scene in Watchmen where Dr. Manhattan is vaporized by the thing in the
The particle accelerator?
yeah
Yeah, and when they come back, it also looks like that.
yeah, like deconstructed and then reconstructed.
Lorelei reappears. She's just like, putting myself back together was the first thing I learned.
I don't want to live on this.
I don't want to live on this plane anymore.
I'm tired of these people. This place.
Magic was fun for a day. And then it was just, oh god, not this.
Okay. You are casting your ability on this lovely deciduous tree.
Well, before I start casting, I am going to tell people, like, the like the basic rule is when the spell is cast, walk into the tree, don't hesitate, or you'll be left behind.
Does it have to be the same part of the tree
Can't be
you
like-
walked into, or can it be any part of the tree?
I'm going in last.
Okay, so you cast the spell, and then we all just walk into the trunk of the tree, and it teleports us?
Yep.
Okay.
Gotta be leaning on the tree.
If this is the joke, and you just want me to run face first into a tree,
Gonna once.
If you're nervous, make sure you get a running start.
if that's your plan, then just be prepared for repercussions.
Oh boy.
Araminda's cast mage armor.
So I cast this spell. Let me just see what the
Casting time, 1 action.
one round.
Yep.
Well, yeah. No, that's duration is a round.
Yep.
1 action. So yeah, I cast the spell, and then when it's ready, I just like gesture.
Yukikaze runs in.
Okay. You run toward this tree. It looks like a normal deciduous tree. Its trunk, approximately as thick around as you are as a large dragonborn. And as you run toward it, you notice that the bark, like slightly taller than your head, splits, and this entire sheet of it begins sinking into the ground. Very much like the Deku tree's mouth opening, and there's this archwayed portal in the side of the tree open before you as you approach. And there's like a greenish glowing light within.
I don't stop.
Okay. You hit the maw that has opened before you, and the whole world seems to kind of shift. You feel like you're enwrapped momentarily in vines and dirt. It feels like you've dived into a root system, and you're just tangled in it for a moment before you are spat out, like as quickly as the roots enwrap your body, tangling your limbs. They seem to snake away and force you forward into, let's see, you're here, you're going there. It is
I
morning.
was going to choose the what do you call it? One of the trees near. Remember where your man had the camp outside of.
The camp outside of the city? Like when Vendar had to camp out there? Is that what you're talking about?
Where are we going? Are we going to Volinar, or are we going to...
Really hope you know, because you're the one in charge of this place.
I thought we were going...
Well, I guess I'm fucked.
I thought we were going to
Guess I'm
Savarn.
fucked.
So, where did you send him, Jebble?
He pops out of the palm tree that's just south of us.
For realsies?
No.
Oh,
I thought
okay.
we were going to Sudaran.
Okay, so you're sending him to Sudaran?
Was that the plan?
The plan was to go to
The plan
Volinar.
had been Volinar.
Oh, well then. I was confused. I got confused because Derek was talking about the sword.
He's sending him to go see if that lead that the one the necromancer is there, like he said he was.
I can't remember what
Oh, you're amazing.
Volinar looked like.
Love it.
Where's the...
Make sure the necromancer's not there.
Swamp of Windermere, here we come.
Where's
Let's see. Let's find a good tree. Actually,
if they said that they wanted to go to Goldenar, I would have known.
I mean, I'll let you know right now that I'm kind of leaning here that like this was, you know, there was a big discussion, and if you didn't retain it and you're the one casting the spell, that's kind of like, like I'll go with you if you really want it, but like this is funnier. So you want to send him to Volinar as was discussed?
Yeah.
Good thing I totally made the Volinar map. Oh yeah, this is good.
So you guys, like, when you step into the tree, your mouth just sort of feels like a boggy kind of swampy smell, and then you're immediately jerked sideways.
He's like, yeah. No, wait! Different tree!
It was like you were on autopilot going someplace and you realized you missed your turn.
Man, I started this map so long ago. I wish I had actually finished it.
In my personal headcanon, when we ended up at the swamp, I'm like, huh. And then I cast teleport and we end up the other place.
Damn it all. Yes. Need tokens. At least I feel confident this time they won't do stupid shit because I made them all stop flying. Flying seems to be the problem.
Okay. That's frustrating.
Yeah.
Too much Red Bull.
Don't want them to have wings anymore. 1, 2. Where are you here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. That's all of those. Give me a quick second to pull up my map of Volinar. So that I can at least build some quick land that is not just the palace. Because originally I was going to just make this, I was like, oh, I'll just do a small map that's just Lightstone Keep if we ever come back here. Stupid.
Take a brief pause to go use the
I'm gonna go give Stella her medication while this is happening.
Yeah, good idea. Let's see here. Map, list of nations and capitals. Guard, part of town, Thorndir, Spire, Bromdor, Brelmont, Volinar. I'm really glad that I linked all this stuff up the way I did, so that I actually have... Oh, man. Yeah, I really wanted to figure out a good way to do this. Alright. Quickly do something. That.
Quickly do something.
Gonna try. This is the big one, right?
Gonna try to do something.
Get to watch a map being built. Isn't that fun? So exciting.
Woo!
The fastest build I've ever tried to do.
Didn't expect us to be in Volinar this episode.
No, I didn't. I did not. I believe I still have the Volinar map on Map Tool, and like, I could just bring that up, but it's kind of a decent excuse to actually make this map.
Sorry.
even... I wish I could just be like, there's a house. Well, kinda can, can't I? Do a quick? I can do a quick and dirty. I can do a quick and dirty. There it goes. It'll suffice. I'll do something better later. I'm just gonna steal this house, Derek. Uh-oh. Let's hope. Haha, I can. Wait. Alright, so not quite screen accurate, but for now, that'll be Nalia's house.
I'm back.
Welcome back. So forgive the rudimentariness of all this, but I do like that those appear above. That's nice. Wouldn't. Okay. Reasonable. So there'd be a tree nearby-ish to her place. Nice little tree over. There we go. Okay. Well, I suppose that'll do for now. Disappeared, but it's okay because it came back. Okay, so Sam's doing the cat, but we can still go on. So in any event, if you go to Volinar, that means that it's going to be about 3 hours earlier, which means it's now 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. I think you were up at like 8. Where's my
Is
East?
Naya asleep or is she like an elf? Does she trance?
She is an Eladrin. She Francis.
That
That way.
shouldn't be too bad.
East. This north-south sun.
Is it possible that you changed what direction was north after starting building?
No, I had to move a different wheel. Because you can change your latitude, basically. Boom. I don't have any idea if there's music here. Oh, there's not. There should be.
There's
Okay. So, 5 a.m. A little darker. Not much. Okay. So, poof. You all appear out here. Ejected from the tree. So, Yukikaze. You were first. And so you find yourself thrust out, and you notice immediately that the air tastes a little less salty. Still salty like you're on the ocean, but not in the way that everything was just inundated with that salty sea air on the island you were on. And you were immediately aware that it is darker out, as though either it's earlier or very late all of a sudden. You look around, and you see familiar buildings around you, most especially Lightstone Keep, which is the center of the fortress town of Volinar. You can see the wall from here, which encompasses the city, and you can see that there are already people out doing their morning things, getting the trades going, moving animals and carts of goods from one place to another. You can see that there are people, guards, patrolling with spears in hand, and a couple of them kind of stop and eyeball you from the road as you kind of tumble out of this tree, all of a sudden, just kind of like stepping unsteadily forward and catching your balance as you're ejected from the root system. Notably, the guards that are looking at you are drow.
Do we recognize them?
Good day.
You know that there were a bunch of drow that stayed here in the city, and that you worked with a bunch of them to learn Undercommon. I would say that, like, these two specifically, you're not, like, best buddies with, but you recognize them as being in that group.
And then they recognize us as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
And so, after you come stumbling out, the rest of the party comes out after you. And you notice that, like, as each next person, like, falls out of this small stand of trees, the drow are just kind of, like, their heads tilt a little farther to one side. And as they catch your eye, they just sort of, like, you see them narrowing their red eyes at you before, just kind of raising one hand to the side of their head and, like, twiddling the fingers a little in a very uncertain wave.
Undar will wave back.
Last to pop out of the tree would be Jebble. But you all arrive here. You recognize the mage Nalia's mansion.
Excellent.
It's early morning. Maybe about 5 in the morning. Actually, you know exactly where Mendes.
Such a weird feat. It's a weird inclusion of things in the feet.
Congratulations, you're a clock.
So, now you're here. What do you do?
Shall we go and knock? I start heading over to go and knock.
Oh, Alex, blowing on the mic there.
I mean, assuming that the guards aren't acting hostile to a lot of us just jumping out of a train.
Blowing on the mic.
And towards
I went over
Nala's.
them that they recognize us. They know who we are.
They do seem to recognize you and wave. I described that.
Alright, we're
I was
back.
like I remember you saying it was kind of like a hesitant or not the word you should.
I mean, even if you see somebody you know,
wave.
if they pop out of something you're not expecting them to pop out of.
Like, that's
Okay, yeah,
that's
fair.
not where people go.
That's fair.
I see now that the slice level now comes with a actual shows the level of it moving instead of just waiting for things to disappear.
Very useful.
You knock. And you hear bustling inside. Eventually you hear a voice call out, a little bit frustrated sounding, as Nalia says, "Just a moment." Vendar, with your higher perception, you can hear mumbling through the wall. She says, "You're not supposed to show up this early." And then
She will be surprised that it is us.
finally the door opens, and Nalia's, smiling face in spring comes out, eyes closed, and she says, "And what can the Mages Guild help you with today?" She opens her eyes to check gender and says, "What are you doing here?"
Surprise.
New information has come to light, and so we thought it best to speak with you and possibly just be able to think about our plans somewhere safer than we had been.
A look of concern crosses her face, and you notice that she dips into fall, her eyes and hair color changing to match, and she kind of reaches out, placing her warm palm against your right cheek, just sort of searching your eyes a moment before pulling it away and looking to the others, in a kind of taking it all in sweep. It says, "Well then, you should come in and tell me about it."
I smile reassuringly, and then Valora. Oh, my thing is not cutting things properly. There we go.
And she closes the door behind him.
You're the only one allowed in.
The door just disappears.
She
I
steps.
remember, but last time, Raiken summoned a giant into my house.
She steps back, holding the door open and letting you each pass, nodding to you as you pass by. Leah, you had called out surprise to her, and as you pass by her in the doorway, she is going to smile, and you see that she comes back out of fall into spring and smiles at you.
I
I'm
smile
going
back.
past, so it's just, hello.
Jebble.
I just say
Yeah,
sorry
does
for
laugh
giving
at
me a
this.
sip.
It's like, it's been a while.
Yes, a couple of weeks
Oh,
since you've
that
physically
longer.
been here. So, there. Usually you let me know ahead of time before... I mean, even showing up via Ash, so... Let me be plain, I'm a bit startled and alarmed that you're all here in person. What is happening?
I didn't want to use the spell slots in case we have more need for more communication or other such things later today, as we must move fairly quickly. And we came here via a very interesting spell that Jebble had cast that I had not been aware of. It was fascinating. But we can talk about that another time.
You see that she gets back into fall.
We had just left Stormreef Isle? Stormreef Isle. Where there is an army gathered to head off to fight the dragons.
She folds her arms, falling into winter, as you know, marked by raven hair and grey eyes, and says, yes, I'd recently been receiving some reports about students being pulled from the university and heading there. It's well outside the jurisdiction of the Mages Guild, and it was deemed unsafe, and so no new forces had been sent there to reestablish our presence at this time. Should I be doing that?
I don't believe that there is going to be a portion of the army that will stay, and so I don't think that there's anyone that will be there to benefit from reestablishing a presence there for some time.
She raises a finger and says, but also nobody to get in the way.
It is fair. If enough time has passed after the army has left, they won't be coming back. But matters of bureaucracy in the Mages Guild is not why we are here.
Of course.
How do I sum up?
She's just looking at you expectantly, holding winter.
The army being gathered there is intending to acquire the White Scale, raise Widimir, and kill all 5 of the dragons to kill Tiamat. We think that this is a very unlikely to succeed course of action. And should it succeed, an exceedingly dangerous prospect, since we do not know what will happen when a god is killed.
And the alternative?
One of the alternatives is to get there before the army and seal the other dragons, all of the other dragons. And then, before they can do anything, hide away the scales and hope that the army doesn't hunt them down, and then continue with their foolish plan.
But that means taking on 4 dragons without an army.
Yes, which is also not likely to succeed. We have come to the determination that the best course of action is likely to be coming to some kind of agreement with hopefully only Karasoth, but
You're going to make a deal.
Yes. Hopefully we can come to one. For aid in sealing his siblings and him remaining.
So you're going to seek an audience with this most ancient of dragons.
We will need to do that, yes.
And then hope that he goes for your deal.
Yes.
And your deal would include giving up his siblings in exchange for his own freedom and the safety of the world.
Yes.
When I put it like that, it doesn't sound very likely, but...
Actually, I think that sounds very likely to work. I mean, as long as you
You
are
know
willing
the
to...
type of thing he is.
As long as you're willing to cede some portion of the world, which means lives.
That is one of the reasons we came here, since we do not have the authority to make those kinds of concessions. We wanted to begin speaking with people in um, political positions of power to see if we could get enough governments on board and try and figure out how that would occur in order to attempt to minimize the impact that Karasoth will have as much as possible.
It's not a terrible plan, and I don't want to hurt your feelings, my love, but it seemed a stretch to me when you told me that Raiken's brother wanted to unite the nations against a common enemy. I'm not sure how you're going to get them to decide who's going to give up land and people to a dragon to save the rest of them.
That is reasonable.
I don't know that it's impossible, it just... You should very carefully word whatever it is you say to Karasov. She says, like, kind of attempting levity, and it brings her just back into fall for a moment.
Politics has never been my strong suit.
Then why did
I turned to Vendar.
How did you come to this decision if you did not want to involve yourself in the politics, dear?
The alternatives were kill a god or fight for ancient gods at once. And those seem less promising for continued existence.
Nods.
And to be fair, the decision was not all Larmendis's. I mean, we decide as a group.
She turns away from Larmendis to look at to meet Leah's eyes and says, "I'm sorry, I did not mean to imply that I thought it was only his decision, just that I am surprised he would agree to it, since knowing that it requires a great deal of politicking. He wouldn't even join the Mages Guild due to the politics there."
I see your point.
And they're not going to be easy to convince them. Suppose we don't know the state of Evangard.
Well, I'm not trying to talk you out of your plan, only pointing out the challenges you'll face, in hopes that it helps you refine your plan. That's all right, isn't it, dear?
Lermidus smiles and nods, and any help in this area is greatly appreciated.
Well, I should be able to get Claire's ear and let her know what's going on. Do you wish to stand audience with her yourselves, or can you be more efficient if I handle that?
Efficiency-wise, it would probably be best for you to handle that yourself and us to go elsewhere. I feel like it might be beneficial, however, to see where she is coming from on things, which is likely where many other governments will as well, though.
Where she is coming from at this point is attempting to recall and recollect as many of the troops that Rowan spent as she can. It has been a slow process of negotiation and reparation, and then waiting for the long return trips of groups of soldiers at a time. So...
Narmentis nods. And then turns to Vendar and says, do you think that we could easily see your sister and have discussions with her around this while Nalia is speaking to Claire to divide our time efficiently since it is quite precious? Or
I don't see why not. Can't guarantee her acceptance of the plan, but I don't see why she wouldn't be willing to see us. It might help if we have more of the plan worked out before we go to speak with her.
all right, then what do we need to work out?
Like Nali was just saying, if we have a place like we don't know the state of Evangard. Perhaps there's part of Evangard that could do it, but also on the other hand, Evangard is probably suffered the most in this war. Then maybe there's Arcosia. Arcosia has arguably been destroyed. There's still people on the island, but there's no government in Arcosia anymore, and any semblance of organizational power in Arcosia was destroyed by Bala's hordes.
A good portion of at least the citizens of the seat of Bahamut can be found here. The relocated population is still integrating, but we've moved past internment, so that's good. Internment, excuse me.
Suppose there'd be any shot at talking them into taking the Shadowlands.
There's nothing on the Shadowlands.
Yeah, to one extent.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
So my point exactly.
I don't think Karasath would be particularly receptive to that suggestion.
For red dragons, in my experience, it is less about land than it is about controlling people and access. And if people already don't want to go there, then why should the dragon? Because he'll have no one to deny. Now, is this true of all red dragons, specifically? Perhaps not. But this is what we're taught in magical study, that the red dragons are rulers. They're dictators. Hegemons in their own right. And for that, they need a people to rule.
Held true with the one we met. From where I'm looking at, it seems the best choice to offer would be Arcosia, or the Seat of Bahamut specifically, since it's already been effectively wiped out. And, its population's already been displaced.
Possibly. I would definitely be concerned about the pride of the Dragonborn.
They would definitely need something. They would need someplace new to call their home. It wouldn't simply be as easy as giving it to Karasoth, because then we have to deal with what happens to the residents who are already there and stuff.
Any chance we could turn them to their ancestral home of the desert? Some improvements, and now that the sandstorms or at least the special ones have stopped.
I think if we evacuate the population Arcosia, then we run into the same problem as the Shadowlands.
Right.
I was talking mostly about the people of the Seat of Bahamut who've already been displaced, and apparently most of them are here.
She's
They
going.
obviously wouldn't be able to go back to the Seat of Bahamut if the dragon was living there, but he would still have the other people living on the parts of the island.
I mean, it's possible that he would allow them back.
Sure. But would they be willing to live under the thumb of a red dragon? That might make Arcosia less of a appealing spot.
At that, Nalia's going to be nodding with a concerned smile on her face, and she's going to turn bodily toward the two Dragonborn
Yeah.
and say, Raiken, what do you think your people would feel about living in a place that has been given over control by the rest of the world to Karasoth, the Red Dragon? A place that was devoted to Bahamut.
Well, my brother wouldn't like it.
Are you implying that you don't mind?
Oh, I left Arcosia a long time ago, and my family was wiped out.
But your people remain. We're talking about giving your people, giving them, like objects to a dragon.
Well, as I've been traveling around, though yes, I am a Dragonborn, I believe all of Emerald to be my people. So, since I haven't been really in Arcosia, other than the one time that we went to it,
You grew up there.
And it's utterly destroyed. And in my opinion, it's not worth to go back anyways.
The question is, do you think your people would be okay with it? Do you think other Dragonborns would be willing to live under Karasoth's rule?
Do you think anybody would want to live under a dragon's rule?
There's a difference between want and willing, but also we've seen it. The red dragon we met had people who worshipped him and regularly gave him things. So there are people who are willing to do it, but that's far cry from the Dragonborns.
That's going to be a personal, basically a person by person basis, not a single, a whole entire population isn't necessarily do it. No matter where you go with it, it's always going to be a person by person basis.
That's true, but different cultures have differences. You know, I would assume the Dragonborns, being there with their close association with Bahamut and their general animosity towards evil dragons and the chromatic dragons, I would imagine they would be particularly against this.
That might make it a more enticing prospect for Karasoth. Speaking from a practical perspective.
It's true. And without an organized government, there's not much the people of Arcosia could do to stop the rest of the world from doing it. But that would, that would be they would be very unhappy, and they would have every right to be very unhappy, and that would be something that would stick with them for the rest
They would have undoubtedly drawn the short end of the stick by no fault of their own.
Yeah. And they've already faced a lot of hardship, but ultimately, if we go with this plan, it's gonna have to happen somewhere, unless we can find a people willing to accept him as a ruler, and then it's going to have to be someplace where people aren't going to be happy.
So, what about if we try to give him Ronaril's domain?
I suppose we could try to do that. Ronaril would not be happy with that, and he would probably cause issues. It might mean killing him, but
I mean, we're already talking about slaying dragons at this point.
that could be an option. We don't have any particular allegiance to him, and it's not like we made a deal with him. But that would be the issue with that. That would be meaning to kill that, and then of course, if Kasrath would be willing to accept it, he might be willing to accept it, especially for Runneril, since Runneril hasn't been neglecting the call. Maybe Kasrath is pissed at him and would be more inclined to take that deal.
Not to mention, people that are actually willing to work with him might be seen as a benefit, and then there's the treasure hoard to go with it.
It would come with a pre-made treasure hoard and a populace already willing to serve a red dragon, so that could be a good option.
At this point, have you already spoken with Karasoth?
We have not spoken with Karasoth yet, so this is, it could easily not work at all if he's unwilling to.
I mean, so do determine what you're willing to give up, and by that I mean speak to the leaders of the world, because, and she gestures a bit sadly to Raiken. She says, it's not going to be an individual choice at the end of the day. Decisions are made by the monarchs. The people live with those decisions. Be ready to give up things to make a deal, but perhaps don't lead with those things, is all I'm saying.
We may also end up having to give whichever country is willing to cede part of their people and land to Karasoth. We might have to do something to give them sort of compensation for that, if we can't find another way to deal with it.
Is Karasoth the best dragon to deal with if all you're trying to do is reduce the number that you're fighting?
Well, when we're thinking about it, based on what we know of dragons, we were thinking that yes, he is the most likely to be able to make a deal with. Though maybe not. Maybe we could trick one of the other ones, but that seems like a dangerous proposition.
Mm-hmm. And I'm to understand that there are ones that you will not deal with.
Yes.
Bala and Shisharan. So our only other option would be Elsamond.
And removing both of them would be even better than removing just the one, fighting-wise. Though worse, world stability-wise. Correct?
Yes. And that's why we're thinking that Kasrath is the least likely to endanger world stability, in our opinion.
If you can find a deal he'll agree to.
Yes.
I can bring the important parts of this information to Claire and find out what kind of clout Bromdor still has, given recent events. I just want to emphasize that on one level or another, this will cost lives.
And at this point, we're kind of trying to stop the complete extermination of all life on the material plane.
Every method of dealing with the dragons is going to cost lives. Our intent at this point is to minimize the damage.
She nods. She has not come out of winter since her bout of levity earlier. Overall, she has kind of a shadow on the wall feel to her demeanor. Well, you know that other nations are engaged with the dragon threat currently. If you have the ability to communicate with them or travel to them as you did me, then you may want to start as soon as possible. I can save you some time and effort by working on Claire for you. Beyond that, I'm not certain what else I can offer you, unless you have a specific idea. Do you need more elemental grenades? I've got a few.
I'll take elemental grenades if you got them.
Sure.
There was one thing that we were considering doing, that we had promised the army that we would bring them the white scale of Widemere, which ideally we will not do. But the item seems like it would be difficult to fake. We are in possession of the blue scale, which I thought you might be interested in taking at least a bit of a look at.
She
just for your own-
immediately jumps to spring. You have it with you?
It is in my bag of holding.
May I see it?
Do you have any magic that should not be disrupted in any way in the near vicinity?
I do. Are you keeping it in an anti-magic field?
The effect of the device is mitigated in the bag of holding, but as soon as it is outside, it will begin pulsing in odd ways that hinder magic.
That's absolutely fascinating.
Which makes it very difficult for us to attempt to disguise the blue scale magically as the white scale, unfortunately.
I can see that being a problem, yes. Does it interrupt artifacts?
Yes.
It's more powerful than an anti-magic field. I suppose that makes a sort of sense. But why does it pulse? Why is it not a constant effect?
Maybe it's not whole without the soul in it.
Maybe it's something about the good and evil natures merged together.
So, when you put the soul in it, then it becomes just a powerful anti-magic field?
I'm spitballing.
I don't think we've ever had a scale that had one of the souls in it. But
We could ask Kazunari what the effect was like while it was whole. Scale of Shisharan, I mean.
Have you discussed Kazunari with Nalia?
I don't know. I am uncertain.
I guess at that point, then, she would just say, Kazunari?
A mage who had been part of the organization hiding the Black Scale. She and her associates are the ones who reacquired the Black Scale and also found the Blue Scale, and which they passed along to us.
It sounds like you owe them a great deal of thanks.
We do need to be in touch with them about our intentions now. Now that we know what the plan is, or now that we have more of the skeleton of our plan. But
you should probably find out with certainty if you can deal with Karasoth before telling them you have a plan, because it sounds like a lot of this is contingent on actually being able to work with him.
Thermendus will nod. But in the meantime, if you would like to see the scale, I can remove it, although I am concerned about what it will do if it is removed in your house.
She's going to flush into Summer and bring a hand up under her chin, just like cradling her chin a second in thought, where she says, "Let's take it by the wall. There's no enchantments there. Do you wish to see it?"
To the voice in the sky. What was the distance from the shore that we had been before like when it became clear that there was something oppressive?
So when you were approaching, when you got to within about 30 feet of Kazunari is when you started to notice that the air felt wrong, but you didn't notice any effects of the scale suppressing magic until it was within 10 feet of you.
Okay. I will share that information.
Okay. It was like more than halfway rolled down the gangplank to you before your shit actually got turned off.
It was rolled, then it's like, holy fucking, oh god. Nope, don't want it.
So
It's a
yeah,
fun magic item.
it's got about a 30-foot aura of, I guess you could call it like an aura of despair.
Yeah.
And then a 10-foot aura of pulsing anti-magic.
10-foot, fuck your magic in particular.
Yeah. Well. If you wish to replicate, create a forgery, a fake, of the white scale to pass off to Tatsuya, she says after a moment's thought, then you'll probably... She kind of rocks her head back and forth a moment. Definitely want to ask a person who knows what a filled scale felt like.
As the only other person we could ask would be Tresnor, and I don't think he would answer us.
If we explain the goal.
No,
She's going to
Lynn was in possession of it, wasn't she?
Lynn was in
Actually,
possession.
yeah.
She stole it.
We could ask Lynn.
That
I
was
look
the
at
cat.
I say that. Yes.
She is still around town. So.
She is? I haven't seen her. I thought she'd left with you.
She prefers the forest, but as last I spoke with her, she was still in Volner.
She is a master of stealth.
Alright, in that out of character, that had been when we were in the Feywild, right? No.
No, it was after we got back to Overwatch. It was
Right.
after the
Okay.
wedding. It was the first night after the wedding. It was like the
Okay.
night. It was like the day of the wedding, but the night. You know.
Okay. Cool. So very recent.
Yeah, it was like 2 days ago at most.
Yeah, I think this is the third day since the wedding, or fourth. You after the wedding happened, you spent like 3 days in.
We did spend a few days in
Yeah,
Overwatch,
because
right?
you had a bunch of stuff to deal with to get your brother up on his own feet.
Yeah, so as far as I know, she's still around the area. I should be able to find her. It'd be good to see her anyway. So
Ugh, I don't like the idea of her having spied on me.
and it's not like you'd ever known.
That's the
Worse.
problem. Fully in summer, just looking exasperated at you.
I mean, if nothing valuable has gone missing, then I wouldn't worry about it.
She starts looking
Not how
around
that
the
works
room.
at all. You're definitely one of those people who says whatever you don't know can't hurt you, aren't you? Because that is not how this works.
What you don't know will absolutely hurt you, and you won't see it
I
coming.
mean, as an assassin, people who did not know I was there, I have hurt many, many people who did not know there was danger.
Then why should me not knowing that she's spying upon me be comforting?
I mean, it may have been to you. I don't know. People are different.
Your people skills astound me on both ends of, like, the scale some days.
Well, he's more used to not non-living people, I guess.
That's not like
How
Lynn
long-
would ever hurt you.
How long
but
do you think
she
it will
may
take you to find Lynn?
Not too long, just by myself. If you wanted to do ascending, then, seconds. But if you want to save the spell slot, it shouldn't take too long for me to find her. She may well find me.
Why don't we take the scale to the wall, as you had said, and investigate it for a little bit, giving him time to find her, and if he doesn't find her in some amount of time, then we send and set up a meeting to have that discussion.
Alright. Well, I will go start looking for her then.
Okay, you should, roll up some investigation, I suppose.
I can't climb over this door. I'm actually stuck in the house.
No, you can't climb over that door. Did you guys wish to do any sendings? Do you have more to say to one another?
One thing I do want to bring up is that with my stability having somewhat diminished late, there are a few things I want to fork over to the party in general, should I not be here when they might be needed. Those
That is
being
understandable.
the house box, the 0-point energy manipulator thingamabob, and the Gnomish Rod of Healing.
God, that we have the gravity gun.
I lost my favorite D20. I don't know what I did.
Alright.
I don't know who would want them, but I feel be better off in someone else's hands, since that's things generally for the group.
You remove them from your bag of holding and set them on the nearest flat surface for the party to deal with.
Said investigation.
Yeah.
Oh, I rolled my passive.
Okay. What's your
but
plus?
I do have a plus, so I think I have a plus. Yeah, only +1, so 17.
And are you stealthing about looking for, or are you making yourself just pretty obvious, just walking around?
I'm not stealthing because I think it's probably even more likely that she'll find me than I'll find her.
Alrighty.
Just walk like 10 feet outside the house, like, say, Lynn! Move! She just taps your shoulder. I was watching you in the house. No, he's just like, I knew it.
I like she taps your shoulder from in front of you.
Look like 1 degree to the right. How the hell?
Oh, it's also worth mentioning the Rod of Healing has the full 9 charges.
Excellent.
Been a while since that's been used, hasn't it? Alright. So are you going to do any sendings while he's out looking for Lynn, or shall I just...
I think I wanted to give him, I suppose, let's say 30 minutes.
Okay, so you're going to just stare at each other for 30 minutes while you wait for Vendar to come back?
No, we were going to go to the wall to deal with to start looking at the scale.
Okay. Alright. Does anybody else have something that they thought would be an important thing they could suggest or do during this time? Leah?
Nothing else in mind.
Jebble?
Oh, there was something there for a second. Come back to me.
Raiken?
No.
Okay. So you go to the wall as Laramendus does the bag dance to show off the scale to Nalia, who you saw her leaving magic items behind, removing them from her person before you went. And she, it's just pouring over the scale, just eyes like inches out of her skull as she's, holding it, feeling its weight, just noting all of the things that it makes her feel. You can see her season shifting seemingly outside of her control. Not that it has ever been easy to tell if she's in control of it or if it responds to her.
Mm-hmm.
Or if she responds to it. But it does seem to change unexpectedly in time with the pulses. As for you, Vendar, you go wandering around the city for just a little bit. You take note of the people here. You see a good number of drow who all nod to you, seeming to recognize you. Even if you don't remember their names, they certainly seem to at least register that they have seen you before and know that you are important to them. There are a number of non-drow citizens here that do the same. And you get some less than friendly looks from non-drow persons here as well. Looks that are generally followed by an untrusting gaze cast at a passing drow. As the sun continues to rise as it pushes toward 6:30 in the morning, and more of the day's activities are getting underway. There are newcomers at the gates. The port is active. You're looking around, studying the people, taking in these sights, and watching the rooftops and the shadows in the alleys, knowing that she's got to be around here somewhere. And she had these reports saying that she felt discomfited while she was here. So you expect that she won't be out in the obvious. When you notice, you suddenly feel a strange, warm breeze pass across the back of your neck.
I knew you'd find me.
You say as you spin rapidly to face her, and she's not there.
I'll reach behind me.
You do hear a squeak, a cry of surprise, as your hand makes contact with soft fabrics and leather.
Gotcha.
She laughs a bit deeply as she says, "This one did not expect to see you in town, at least not without sending word ahead. Why do you surprise her?"
Things are happening pretty fast, but I wanted to see you.
She
So
smiles at that. "This one wished to see you as well. She did not think she would get the chance."
I'm happy to surprise you.
"What news do you bring this one? Good? Ill? Somewhere in between?"
Somewhere in between. We're working on a plan. Something you might actually be able to help us with if you want to come with me right now.
"This one has helped you with many plans. She thinks she is quite capable."
Oh, then follow me. And I will fill her in on what we've been doing in the meantime.
Alright. Are you taking her over to the wall? Or just back to the Mage's Guild?
Back to Nalia's house.
Okay. You spend some time filling her in as you return to Nalia's house and waiting for the party to return. And presently they do come back. Nalia, feverishly scribbling notes in a journal, very much vacillating between spring and summer colors, her red hair and yellow eyes, and her blonde hair and green eyes. As I believe Laramendas would be guiding her by the shoulders because she's not looking where she's going.
Yeah. we've done this before.
You return to the house to find Lynn and Vendar discussing your recent travails. And, Nalia comes in and sets the journal down at her writing desk over here, finishing a couple notes. And she looks to you, Laramendas, with clearly a thought behind those eyes before she looks over, and you see her immediately fall into fall. The auburn hair taking over, and violet eyes, as she looks upon Lynn and says, "Oh, good. The cat's in the house."
Oh, it wouldn't take long.
"If this one is not wanted here, she can always wait outside, but she was told that there is news and a plan that she can help with." Nalia is going to let out a long-suffering sigh and say, "Perhaps now is a good time for me to go see if I can get an audience with Claire,
It seems a reasonable use of time.
Great." And as she bustles past you, she's going to stop a moment there and lean in and just say, "Just make sure she doesn't take anything important."
I will do my best.
Good luck keeping that promise.
And as she,
I didn't say I would.
as she pushes past Lynn and toward the door, you're going to see Lynn fold her arms and kind of lean over, and she says, "This one has already taken everything of import to her from this building. It would be a waste to take more." At which point it elicits the most suffering before Nalia passes out the door.
I love Lynn.
We've noticed.
I hope you have been well in the past. I was probably present for their conversation, wasn't I? So I can't. Can I leave? Did I leave? I don't remember.
Did you leave?
Was Laramendas present for the conversation?
Because it was through Ash. So.
Through Ash, right. No, you would have need to stay kind of nearish by.
Yeah.
So you are...
He's aware of everything.
Yeah. You're aware of her well-being and her concerns. She pauses a moment in her ministrations over oddly playing with tufts of Vendar's hair that poke out from under the hat, and messing with the ferret, who seems quite squeaky and playful around this tabaxi. Before she makes, yellow eye contact with you. And she says, this one has been, as you heard, well as she can be. Doing her best to stay out of trouble. This city is quite full of it. Trouble, that is, not, I mean, shit too. Is there something that you wish this one to tell you? About the city, perhaps? She has been many places and seen many things. Heard them too.
About the city, I'm not entirely sure. I do, however, have a question about the item that you had taken from the group in Tuca. And specifically,
this one was told they got it back. She is no longer indebted to them.
They have acquired it again.
And they've already spent the money I was paid, so she cannot give that back either.
I wanted... that is good to know. I wanted to know how...
In fact, she is dead, if they're looking for her. Quite unfortunate.
I have not said anything to them about you, and I do not intend to.
You died how she lived.
How did it feel holding the item?
Like it was worth a lot of money.
Was there... do you have any magic items on your person? Or did you have any magic items on your person?
At the time that she performed the theft? No, the only magic items she had ever possessed were the golden lockpicks, which she gave to Vendar as a gift.
When you were holding it, did you feel any different?
She's gonna look quite puzzled at you and say, no. She felt like she was holding a glass orb. Like anything that she might pick out of someone's pocket. Did not feel magical.
Maybe there's only on the anti-magic field if there's no soulman.
There is anti-magic field? She does not know what those things feel like.
It's not entirely anti-magic. It disrupts magic.
Yeah, it's in
like
weird
similar ways to anti-magic, but effectively different.
But I don't know. Does it feel magic just by holding it to you, Laromendis?
Did holding the scale feel wrong and disruptive? Yes, absolutely. I am not entirely sure what your question was specifically about.
I don't know.
This one is sorry. There is nothing interesting to tell. She was paid to take this object, which looked very plain, very pretty, perhaps valuable to a collector or someone who is quite obsessed with dragons, because it appeared to have some artisan's rendering of scales within. But there was nothing quite special about it, other than that she was paid quite well to acquire it from these people who treated it like it was not worth anything at all.
Laromendis, is the blue scale in any kind of glass orb? I'm blanking.
Yeah, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you had seen what it looked like. It was the glass orb. There's the blue scale and the other scale. I can't remember which. Was it copper?
I was just curious if the orb was a difference or not.
My notebook all the way over there. I didn't commit this to memory. I wrote it down because I knew I wouldn't remember it.
I would assume it's whatever the corresponding metallic dragon for the
Yeah,
series.
I'm trying to remember what it was, but I can't for the life of me because I didn't write it down because I was dumb.
Copper is acid,
Raiken,
so
what
it
color
should
are you?
be bronze, I think. I think bronze is lightning. Actually, maybe
Alright, copper is acid.
Oh, this is the
isn't copper
Water.
acid?
Oh, no,
Yeah, copper is acid.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
And
No,
so,
yeah,
and
that was a good move.
brass is fire, and silver is cold, and gold is fire. So that means it has to be bronze. Yeah, bronze.
That makes sense.
I thought there were
Elimination.
There's
there were
five.
two fires.
There are two fires.
There are
Brass
fires.
and gold.
Okay, yeah.
And
Right,
so I'm
it's
pretty
just-
sure the last metal is bronze. I think it's
Yeah.
gold, silver, brass, bronze, copper.
There are more types of metallic dragons than chromatic dragons.
No, there's 5 of each. It's just the chromatic dragons have 5 elements, and the metallic dragons only have 4, because the metallic dragons don't have
true.
poison.
There's no poison in metallic dragons.
There's no poison metallic dragons. They have 2 fires instead.
Right.
That's weird.
So you have, and it's more interesting that because gold dragon's breath weapon is a cone of fire, and brass dragon's breath weapon is a line of fire.
The gold is just more powerful.
I mean,
I think
one
it's
isn't
different.
necessarily more powerful than the other, except that if you're in a line, then anybody behind the first person has advantage on the saving throw because they're blocked by the first person in the line. So, I guess in that case, yes.
What if the line comes diagonally from above?
Then you probably wouldn't get cover, and it would be...
Would they get the same advantage for the cone if they were on the line?
Oh,
Technically,
I didn't match them, because I was an interesting person. So it's not, it's not lightning and lightning. It is,
Okay.
it is blue and copper. It's lightning and,
Okay.
it's lightning and acid.
Oh, that's unexpected.
It makes sense to me reading it again now, just because, like, since I couldn't match poison with anything, then I might as
They
well
didn't
just
wanna
mix and match all
the
of
other
them.
ones. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
instead,
that does make more sense.
I tried to match them on power tier instead. So blue,
Oh, yeah.
blue and copper are supposedly relatively the same power level, because that's how they're tiered. So red and gold are together, and which would mean black and silver. Yeah. So it's red, black, green, blue, white in order, and gold, silver, brass, copper, bronze in order. So bronze and white, blue and copper, green and brass, black and silver, red and gold. That's how I did it. I knew there was a method to my madness. I just had to remember what it was.
Well, we could have Lynn take a look at this one, and if there's not, if she can tell, see if she can tell us. I mean, that might be different otherwise.
If we would like to do that, we should not be in the house when we do. We should step about 40 feet away.
You wish
Many
to take
points.
this one back to the wall where you took your girlfriend?
Loretta just looks. Did they watch us?
This
Like,
one is...
mumbles to himself as he just like starts heading out.
she watches everything.
I assume that nothing's private when we're around.
Are you a swamp? So that too.
At that, she's going to, like, tilt her head in and put her forehead to yours in that very cute couple way, and kind of mockingly at the others. This one thinks your friends do not like her powers of observation.
Some
They're
people
the same with me.
like
They
a
get
little bit
unnerved by it.
Leah, one more time.
There's some people like privacy.
Yeah. Privacy, secrets, all of these things are good or dangerous in ways. this one thinks of herself as, self-taught cleric of Ion.
That is, that's one way to put it. I look at Laramindus.
Laramindus is
Laramus
smiling
like
at that.
twitching in the corner.
No, Laramindus is very amused by that. And then just like glances up at Ash.
Ash just sort of shares a look with you, but doesn't say anything out loud. He's still on the bond. He'll use the bond. I mean, she susses out secrets, scholar. She is doing her part in the fight against Vecna. After a fashion. She is, of course, then mostly keeping those secrets, so it mostly nets out to 0, but shall we not tell her that, perhaps?
I think we can leave it at this. In which case, we might be able to get a few secrets out of her. Yukikaze had gone to AFK channel.
Oh no, not again.
Well, it's also past our own time.
Oh, it is. Okay. Well, let's just fish him back. Real quick. Ugh, I don't like that I can't scroll while holding him. Okay. Well then, since it is past time, and we know where we're at least for now, interesting choices have been made. Very, very interesting choices have been made. Then we'll pick it up there next time, so all of you please take 1600 XPs. And, perhaps I will sit down and add some more to the Volinar map and try to make it like my drawing. Seems like a good idea.
We do like to come here.
Toss GM mode my way. I could probably try and work on it at some point during the week.
Do you have access to the drawing? You should.
I'm not... I should have... You know, it's somewhere, but if you find it, could, like, PM it to me, that would certainly help.
So, I access it through the document.
Ah, then... Where is it in the document? Because I have the document.
It's, you have to go to the nations, the list of nations, and then scroll down to Bromdor, and then when you click on the name Volinar, it'll give you a link to the map.
Cool.
It's a pretty nifty little thing. Bing. I'll put it in there.
Nations. Bromdor, there it is. Volinar. Right.
But yeah, it's mostly just going to be putting up buildings and walls and roads in the best approximation that can be mustered. But I don't know how to figure out the diagonal roads since I haven't seen those in the program.
Tricky, but I have some ideas.
Alright, well, I appreciate your offer of help. So, yeah. Here you are, you have left Stormreef Isle and come to Volinar to meet with Nalia and Lynn, who get along famously. I love them, they're great. Hopefully this leads to the next step of your plan to stop the dragons. And with that, I will call it.
God,
Thank you, everyone, for...
This plan has even one step.
I mean, I think you made it one step into this plan that is very nebulous.
I think this plan is just a series of stumbles.
Yeah. That's D&D.
That's what happens when you're heroes.
Direction we're stumbling in.
You gotta determine what scale you're getting. You gotta determine when you go talk to Tresnor. You gotta determine when you talk to Karasoth, if you talk to Alcamenth, when you talk to the other nations. Like, there's a lot of things that need to get done. Maybe somebody should actually make a checklist, so, because you've proposed a lot of things.
Sam, you're on it.
Oh, voluntold. Nice. Anyway. Thank you all for being here, and we'll catch you next week, I think.
I don't see why not.
Nice. Bye, stream.
Ice cream.